Okay, can you all see my screen, please? If you can see my screen, please. If you can see the demon on my screen, let me know, please. uh, why can't I share my screen? I can't share my screen. Oh,
Let me try to fix that.
okay. Okay, yeah, my screen is coming up. My screen is coming up. So, can a new user be created via the terminal? Um, be able to log into the system via a GUI login. Apparently, we all need to start getting acquainted to the terminal. Whoever told you that the best way to use a Linux system is from your GUI, it was just playing with you. So you have to learn to, yeah. So if you do the user add dash m when adding a new user, it will create a home. Yes, that is right. That is very, very correct. So if I do that, it will give me the ability to create a new user. Sorry, I think I might need to leave and come back in because I am not able to share my screen.
Yeah, try that. This time I think it will work.
Okay, I
Just
should
try
leave and
that.
come back in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. The thing no gree me make I leave. Oh. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Prayer warriors. Prayer warriors. It's working. It's working. No demon shall fight us in these lectures. So, yes. The guy who said you need to use the dash m command is right. Once you use the when you're trying to create a new user and you create a user dash m command, let's take for instance, user add user add cloud dash m. What it does is creates a dash a. Can you see the word the cloud? It has created a folder cloud for the cloud users. Yeah, so for you to use the members command, you have to install it. So for in your Ubuntu, just do apt install members dash y. Ensure that you are a sudo user. Run that command and you'll be fine. Yes, run that command and you'll be fine. All right, guys. Any other questions? Okay, so let's move into groups. So for every user has to be assigned into a group, just like what I did here, where I added the alt school user under the group, the group name members, under the group name Conrad. So every user has to have a group. You can see the groups you have by typing the cat / group. So you can see what you're seeing here is the group Conrad has a username Conrad X. This is the group ID, and these are the members of the group. Now, unfortunately, there's no member. I don't think there's any member on the odd school group. members. Sorry, yeah, okay. So the old school group also has the group, the permissions, the group ID, and because it also has the user too, so it also has its user name in that group. Explain which of the last commands, please, Faith. The members command. The members command is just to show you all the members that are assigned that are within a user. The sudo command is just to switch to is what that gives you administrative privileges. Okay, guys. So now another command you can actually use to see all the groups in the system without having to see all the external. Just want to see the list of the groups. You use the compare command. So this gives you all the names of a group in a like a list without any other thing attached to it. You can also use the get ent group. This will also give you all the groups in your system. So I'll give you I'll write the commands here. compgen-g and the get ent group. Get ent group. This also gives you all the groups that you can also use this as alternative to see the list of the group users in a system. All right, guys, so let's continue. If I want to use the lead command, so I've just installed the lead command on my system. Now I want to see all the users in Conrad. So I just need to do the lib user lead, then Conrad. Shit. Do I really need to run? Okay, let's see. Lead Conrad. This I don't think this is working now. Can we just leave this one first? I don't want to turn even my own head as I'm turning all this, as I'm turning everything here. Okay, Conrad, how exactly do you use this stuff to work every day? Apparently, understanding these things would also help you to navigate within the system during your debugging, for instance, and things like that. So basically, it's more like having a good understanding of how the folders are created, how permissions are being done, how users are created in a Linux system. So if, for instance, as a systems administrator, you are being told to create a user, how would you create a user in a Linux-based system? This is how you would create a user in a Linux-based system. So it's more like accessing your folders and things like that on Windows. So let's move on, please. I believe everybody understands understanding. Yeah, I'll move on to the next topic. We're just on the first topic. I've just finished the groups. So let's go into file permissions. So guys, this is I think I touched a little bit of this on Saturday. I talked a little bit of this on Saturday. File permissions is one of the most important things in Linux, as we know of it today. File permissions is one of the most important things that we know of today in Linux. You need to understand how files are created, the concept of creating a file, the concept of managing files, because that's what you're going to use to manipulate various files in your systems, in your application, in your Linux command. So I'll start with, now as you can see, the first one is the file type. The next there is the R. So the first three, after this one, the first three, 1, 2, 3, is assigned to the owner of that particular file. The next three, 1, 2, 3, is assigned to the group owners of that particular file. And the last three, 1, 2, 3, is assigned to every other person who is not a user that can have access to that file. So if the file can be accessed from the internet, anybody can have access to that file from the internet, or you can only read, you can execute what's going on in the file and things like that. So you don't need to be assigned, you don't need to log into the system before you can have access to that file. Any questions so far? All right, great. No questions. So since we don't have any questions, let's go into the Ubuntu file. I want to create a user. So user add Conrad. I want to create a user and I want to do some manipulation for this user. Sorry, I want to delete them so I can create a file and do some manipulations for these users. Now I've deleted this user and I want to delete the Conrad user. User add, if you want to add this user to that group, just use the user group, user add group. Okay. So I'm going into the Ubuntu folder, and I want to create a file in this Ubuntu folder. I'll call it Alt School. So just refresh your screen, you'll be fine. So I want to see now, if you want to see the permissions for this LSAL, I'm focusing on, okay, I wouldn't want to do it for everything, so I'll just do it for the important one. Now, from here, it tells me the D in front it tells me that the folder I'm talking about is a directory. The first tree tells me that the user, which is Ubuntu, has the ability to read, write, and execute. The next tree also tells me that anybody that is in this group has the ability to read and write, but read and execute, but cannot write. And so the last one also tells us that every other person has the ability to read, but cannot write and also can execute. Now, so let's take for instance, I add the user Conrad, let's say. So let's take for instance, I add user add the user add Conrad into the Ubuntu group. Conrad exists. If you want to add this user to the group, just use -G. Okay, so I have the username Conrad. Yeah, I just forgot I have the username Conrad, and I've added it into the user's Ubuntu. I've added the user Conrad into the user's Ubuntu. So now I said Ubuntu itself has the ability to edit anything that is created in here. So I have an alt school and I'm going into it. I want to create a file. Let's call it testing.txt. Sorry, the Ubuntu user, I think the Ubuntu user, you need to add this whenever you're creating anything there. So now as the Ubuntu user, you can see the files I've created in it and you can edit the file. If I use the lsal command testing on the file, it shows you the permissions that are assigned to the users here. Now it tells you that the person that has the ability to edit this file, which is the read and write, is the root user. So it tells you that if you're not a root user, you cannot edit this file. If you're not in the root group, you can't edit. If you're not a root user, you can't edit. You can't write on this file. If you're not in the group, if you're in the group, you can only read. You can't write or execute. And if you're not in any of these two, you can only read, you can't write, and you can't execute. Any questions? Please, but you can drop your questions on the. Why do you use a small letter? So that's the convention. That's why I'm using the small letter G. Can you explain what these commands would mean on our regular Windows? Okay, fine. I think that question is no. Touch is to create a file, is to create a document, is to create a not a folder but a file. So any type of file you want to create, you can use the touch command to create that. So guys, now you can see the various users and the various commands. So if I want to give anybody and the group, if I want to give additional command to the group, where I would say the group has the ability to write. So right now, the group doesn't have the ability to write. If I want to, it might not work for everybody. If I want to give the ability for everyone to write in the group command here, all I just need to do is to write the change mode command. That is to change the mode of that particular file. Change mode, group, ability to execute, and the file name, which is testing.txt. Oh, gosh. So if I run my lsal testing.txt, so we can see the changes that have made on this file. Initially, they had the ability to read, but now I've taken that ability to read, ability to write, and given it the ability just to execute. If I want to give him the ability to read, write, and execute, I just do this. Now, what I've just done is I've given it the ability to read, which is R, write, which is W, and X, which is execute. So if I run my LSAL on that particular file, you can see it has the ability to read, write, and execute. Any questions? All right, thank you all. If I want to give the users permission to the external users permission to also read, write, and execute, or let's say for instance, I want to take away the write permission from all users. All I just do is a change mode a minus w testing. You all should forgive me for my sudo command nonsense, please. Yeah, sorry for the words. Fine. So as you can see, I've taken away the write command from all users. So the A here means all users. The minus sign here means remove. Then write. So I've said remove W from everybody. So nobody here has, you can see the initial command here was read write. And here you can see there's no write anywhere. The D, what the D tells you that it is a directory. Yeah, I don't mean the D tells you that it's a directory. So do you all understand what I've just done now with this command? Great. So if I want to add the write and if I want to add the write and the execute to all users, all I just need to do is to do the sudo change mode all users. I'm adding the write and execute to all users to the file testing.txt. If I do my ls on all of them, you can see I've given all of them the ability to write, to execute, and they all had the ability to read. All right. Now, this is using the numerical value. There is the 4 is for I think 4 is for read, 2 is for write, and 1 is for execute. So if I do this sudo 600 testing, that's testing. What have I done? I've said the 6 here says, like I said, 4 is for read. So you have 4, 2 is for write. That is 4 plus 2, which is 6. For the first user, have 600, which means that you can read and write. The 00 that means that the group cannot read and the other users cannot read, write, or execute. Now, if I change this to sudo 660, it means that I've said the user can read and write, the group can read and write, but others can't do anything. Yeah, we can also change it to 666. I mean, there's no harm in it. If you say 666, it's allowed. You're giving everybody the read and write. So it means that 666, you have the ability to read or write, but you cannot execute anything. You have the ability to read your Bible, to write your Bible, but you cannot execute anything. Please. So I think we all understand the file permissions. Does anyone have any questions on this? Any questions? Wow, I'm so happy. I hope I'm not too fast. Okay. Okay, I'm so glad. I think we're having fun. We're having fun. So the next thing we need to talk about is the SSH. Basically, what's SSH? This is I think I'm going to give us an additional exercise on SSH. I would really like everyone to, yeah, sure, Obioma, I can actually take you back to the numerical commands. I'm going to give an additional. No, 20 doesn't do anything. 20 doesn't do anything. It must be 3. It must be 3 numbers, because with 20, you're only referencing just the user and the group, but you're not adding others. Now, yes, you can actually use 200. I think you should be able to use 200. 200, 200 on the file. Yes. So if we look at the context of the file, you can see that it's only write. Okay, I don't understand what you mean by 20, but yeah, but 20 or 200 means let's just try it out. Let's try it out and see if 20 can. Oh, yeah, that's good. That means 20 actually can do something. It's okay. So what it has done is it counted your 20 from behind. So it assumed 20 you're trying to, this is what 20 also means. 020, that's what 20 also means, because it counts from behind. Computer actually counts from behind. Yes, that's correct. Okay, Mary, that is very correct. No, there is nothing like 8, Mashud. There's nothing like 8. There are 3 calculations. There is the 4, 2, and 1. So the maximum you can have is 7. You can't get 8. The 4 is for read, the 2 is for write, and 1 is for execute. Okay. SSH. So what is SSH? SSH just basically means secure shell. That's just what it means. So it's a protocol. It's actually a protocol type that you use in connecting securely to a remote server or to a system. SSH is secured and is mostly on the port 282. So how do you generate SSH keygen or SSH keys? There is the SSH keygen. Let's do the help. These are the various types of SSH keys that you can create and the various formats for the SSH keys. I just want us to stick with the SSH keygen itself without adding any extra command to it. Once you do this, it asks you the first question, where do you want to save the file? So this is the default. You can decide to save it in your own file name, wherever you want to save it, /.ssh/vagrant test. It asks you for a fast passphrase for your SSH. I usually don't do that. There's no need. And it has created it. So now, if I go into that file that I just created, and I do my ls all, you can see the file name, and you can see the private key and the public key, which has been created there. The public key is the one that has the .pub. The private key doesn't have anything. So apparently, if I want another system to have access to this system, all you need to do is copy the public key to that system in the -authorized file, authorized keys. You copy that into the authorized keys. If I do authorized keys, you can see this first key you're seeing here is the key from my system to give me access into this system. So if I want to have access to another system from this one, so far as they're on the same private IP, all you just need to do is log into that system, go into the SSH file, and copy the public key and paste it in there. Voila, and you're good to go. Does anyone understand what I've just said? Do we all understand what I've just said? I'm trying to within the same private IP. Okay, I have actually created an exercise, which I would like everyone to try out. It's a very, very simple exercise. No, I wasn't talking. I was typing. I'm done. So I've just created a very simple exercise, which I would like everyone to try. Very, very simple exercise using the SSH key. SSH commands SSH-help. This shows you all the things that you can use with your SSH. Now, if you have an identity file somewhere you need to use, usually SSH. If you have another system, at the name of the system, name of user, at IP of system. So this is how you use the SSH key. It's very, very simple. That's how you log into another system. So I'm open to asking. You can ask your questions now, please. What if you want to create an SSH key specifically for a particular user, say Conrad instead of Vagrant? Um, so you have to be connected as that user. Actually, you can't just create a particular SSH key for a particular user. Well, you just have to have access. You can't. I think the SSH you're creating is going to be for everybody. But there's a way you can actually create you can have an SSH key and assign it to just one particular user. That is where you can now assign it as a certificate. That is really, it's a very, very complex thing to do, but it's also very easy. You can assign a certificate to a user, but you cannot create a certificate for a user. So after you've created the certificate key, you can then assign it to a user. You can't create an SSH key for a group. Exactly, Chukwebuka, you're right. If you want to access a system, you just do your SSH, the name of the user at the IP of that user. Okay, I'll take us back to explanation. SSH is just a protocol. It's just a secure shell protocol. It's a protocol in the ports that by default using the port 2022. You can actually use the SSH you can use SSH to log into a system securely without having to use the username and password. Now, with the certificate that has been generated from the SSH when you run the keygen command, which is just the keygen command. I hope I'm correct. When you run the SSH keygen command, it helps. That's where you create the public key and the private key, which you would eventually use to access any server or to access this particular server. That's just all. That's just what it's just. It's just a protocol, but that's the secure way of assigning or getting access into a server. Um, okay, what demo would you like me to do, Kinga, Eric? On SSH key, how do you add a public key to a system? Yeah, that's what I already gave to you guys as an assignment. Can you guys just try and do the training? I'm sorry, can you try and do the exercise? Then in the next lecture on Saturday, I can actually run a sample of that. Because if you want to copy it, there are two ways. You can decide to just use the cat /home /vagrant dot ssh, then the vagrant dot, because it's a public key, Then you can decide to copy it manually like this, or you can just do the SSH copy ID, right? Yes, SSH copy ID, home slash vagrant slash dot SSH slash vagrant underscore test dot pub. Okay, so basically you can use that to also the SSH copy ID to also copy it. Submission is what we are submitting is just your script. So yes, exactly, Zainab. It's what we are trying to do. So okay, let me explain the exercise again. Now, the exercise I really want you guys to do is you should create two vagrant systems. So you should have two vagrant systems running on your system, system A and system B. You should create an SSH key on system A, no, on system B rather. Copy the public key from system B into system A and have access to system B by just using the SSH command. So you go from system B into system A by running the SSH command. That's just a question. That's just what I want. So for instance, you just do system B. You can do SSH system B at the IP of system B, and that should log you into system B. That's just easily. That's just what I want you guys to do. I already typed it. Is it not explanatory enough? I will paste it here again. Okay, let me copy it and paste it here again. If you go to the question and answer, it's there, but I'll copy it and paste it in the chat again. But if you go to the question and answer, it's there. It's there. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Teslim. So it's a very simple exercise. Any questions, please? What if you want to create SSH key specifically for a particular? I've said that. Can it also be two? Yes. It can be two Ubuntu systems. It can be, yeah, it can be any type of. It can be two Ubuntu systems, just two Linux-based systems. There's no preference on the type of system you're using. But preferably to be good, it's Linux-based for ease. It's a very simple exercise. Very, very simple exercise. But there are a few things I want. There are a few things I would want to understand from what we've done so far, because this exercise is going to have some of the things that we did from the last class. No, you can't copy a key and paste. Why would you want to copy it and paste it on the browser? Okay. That's what I want you to. If there's any difficulty, that's one of the things I want you to be able to identify yourself. It's the same thing. There's nothing separate. It's the same thing. So But that's one of the things I want you to also identify by yourself, and we can have a discussion on that on Saturday. Just use the Control C. You can use that to exit. For it to just for it to generate the SSH key is just this SSH dash key gen. But what you have to really take advantage, you have to notice is the location of the file and the name. Location of the file and the name. You can see what I've highlighted. You try to give it a location slash home slash based on this slash dot SSH slash right? I'm not giving it this, I'm not giving it this, and that's all. If I do my LSAL, you see the user I just the key I just created. So every key must come with a public key and a private key. So is it okay now? Okay. So does anyone else have any other questions? Just press enter, Chidi. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay. I think these records, so you can actually um, get the recorded versions and go through it again. Yes, you can do the exercise. No, you need two Vagrant systems to be able to do the exercise. Okay, guys. So if there are no further questions, I think we can call it a day. The same way you created the first Vagrant system is the way you can create the second Vagrant system. It's part of the things that you need to learn. There is no fastest class. It's a 1 hour 30-minute session, so we have just 4 minutes left, and I wanted to give you guys back your 4 minutes. No, Alice, please. I think I'm also confused right now. I'm trying to understand. Now, the same way you created your Vagrant systems is the same way you create multiple grade Vagrant systems. There are Vagrant commands that you can provision multiple Vagrant systems in your and have different Vagrant systems. So if I do something like Vagrant status, this is showing me that I have just one machine running. Yeah, we can't avoid that. So I have just one machine running. if you can also create multiple machines from having multiple vagrant files. And once you run a vagrant status, it will tell you how many systems you have running. No, 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 no. You don't need to install another vagrant. All you just need to do is just to spin up another vagrant system. You don't need to install. All you just have two separate vagrant files. Log into the two vagrant files on the two different folders, and then run the same vagrant command to use, and you can have multiple vagrant systems in your system.
Hi, Chibuke.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Yeah, I've been following through since, and yeah, quite interesting. New terms, new keywords. So I can see some of us. You have a dick. You want to sleep. Okay. Yeah, I guess this is the main. Like, it's getting it up, and I believe we can all do this together as a team. So our instructor is in our Slack channel. You can always ask him question in the Slack channel. We'll provide help. And yeah, somebody said Google is your best friend. Sure. And you can also learn as a team. Like, I'm very sure there are some set of people in this place that are very familiar with all of these terms. So you guys should let the fire keep burning. And I don't know if you have anything you want to ask. Our instructor is still with us before he leaves, so you can ask your question. And I don't know, Drew, do you have a few minutes you can spare?
Like how many minutes?
No, I don't know. I just want to probably bring up just one student to talk, and probably you. I don't know. It depends on you, though.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
So, who wants to come on board to talk? We need just somebody talk, and I would just accept. I'm waiting. I just want you to send I in the chat box. So, Mrs. Fumilayo, you guys want Mrs. Fumilayo to talk? Somebody said talk about what? Talk about today's class, of course. What you've learned. Like, I don't understand. Do you want to talk about me, Mayowa? Yeah, who wants to talk now? Samson. Samson, send request. Samson, I'm waiting. I can't see your request too. Okay. Since Samson is not sent, okay. Okay, I can't. Samson, what is that? Said I. Okay. You putting cloud is moi moi. You think it's like that? You guys were doing front end first semester. You guys were saying it's simple. Is this? Is that? Hey, guys, I've entered it now. Hi, Samson.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Who is this one that said I should rest? Zeba. I would rest now. Don't worry, I'm coming for you. Samson, hi, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Good evening.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm very well. From this class, I will talk about
It's
like
not good.
what
No,
I
no,
have
let me
learned.
just quickly back.
Before old school, I have looked at Linux before, but not as in depth as
Maybe what is it now?
classes have.
You
Can
know
you
I'm
guys
busy
hear me?
now. I'm just done now. I'm not even done, so I want to go and bath like that. Bath, just have enough now. Then we can bath and we can start going.
Samson, just go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I was saying that my interaction with Linux has not been in depth as much as these classes have taken us because for me now, what has happened for me is the way that I've been interacting with the Windows system, for instance, all the things that I've been able to do on the Windows system, on Linux now, it's even with much more control because it gives us a lot of power to do and undo with files. The interface is a bit different from the GUI thing that is going on, but I think that one of the things I've noticed the instructor do a lot is he will go to the help section and he will try to look out commands there and to do what he wants to do. I realized that he didn't cram it. So he just knows where to find what. So I think it requires, what I've noticed also about cloud is that it requires you to be a very careful person. You have to look carefully because you might even type the wrong command, and it's just because you're typing the wrong command that you're not getting what you need to do. I stopped doing something a while ago. I don't copy and paste into the terminal anymore. I just type it out. That way I know what I have done. So I believe that this class has been in depth. It has really helped me because I've seen a lot of commands that I did not know before, to grant permissions, to enter into files, what is inside the bin folder. I used to see all those things. I didn't have an idea. I would say bin, etc, MNC. I would say a lot of them. I didn't know what they did. And I've been interacting with content from AWS recently as well. And one of the things that they showed there, which I just related here now, is this concept of he created something earlier in the class, keygen, SSH keygen, right? And like I've always been used to doing it on the GUI, for instance, on AWS. Like I'll just do it on just download my key.pem, right? And I saw him create keys earlier. So like I'm getting to the root of how things are done. It's been really enlightening for me, and it's been a good experience. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Samson. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. So, guys, see Samson. Samson is one of you, so you can always reach out to Samson as well. And stop copying and paste. Type it out. As long as you want to work with the terminal, you need to type it out. So, Drew, can we have you before we round up? Is Drew there? I think we lost. I think Drew has left, but he's still here. Let me see. Let me message him on Slack. Oh, Drew, please send request. Please send request. All right. Drew. Yeah, you're back. Thank you. We can hear you now.
Yeah. So, Samson, thank you so much. Yeah, that's quite. It's so cloud is more like a way of life. It's more like a way you use your things. There's nobody that picked up the Windows system today and understood every single concept of the Windows system in 3 days. So you're still going to have to understand how it works, how it flows, and things like that. But once you are regularly using a Linux-based system, you would get familiar with writing most of these things. You get familiar with writing bash scripts also, and things like that. So yes, it's more like a way of doing things. It's more like a way of like there's so many things that you can achieve with it, and preferably always try to use your help command because that would also help you understand what you're trying to do. This is just the Linux side of cloud. We have other areas, but you need to. This area we're actually trying to take you guys through is one of the things that you need as a systems administrator. These are the areas where once you start managing high-end servers and cloud systems, you need to understand the concept of what is actually going on within those systems, so you can be able to probe or whatever it is that you need to do within those systems. So that's what this session is actually meant to take us through. I believe that as we are moving on, it's going to be a bit Greekish, but at the end of the day, once you start using these things on a daily basis, you realize that they are as simple as ABC. All right, guys. Please, those of us who use Ubuntu for second exercise, how do we go about with it since we've never installed Vagrant in the first? Now, you might just have to install Vagrant in your system, because what I want to achieve is for you to be able to have access to, for you to access a server from another server, or to access a system from another system, log into a Linux system from another system. So if you can also probably do the same thing that the trainer did for us, where he used a free tier DigitalOcean account, and you can also run an SSH into that. So that is practically the same thing I'm asking for. But I wanted it to be done with two Vagrant systems rather than a DigitalOcean system. All right, guys. Thank you all very much. So we'll see in the next lecture, which will be on Saturday. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye. See you all on Saturday.